Monday, June 15th. The Rundown is brought to you by horse racing, the whole fucking sport of horse racing. With baseball probably never coming back, basketball kind of in limbo, football still a ways away. The one thing you got now to hold you over, something to bet on, something to give you the exhilaration, the rush, major horse racing. Churchill Downs, Belmont Park, Santa Anita, all the majors are back, and you can bet on it legally. You can right from your phone. You can watch. You can cash in big, and you can get that rush and that excitement of watching real live sports again. Go to americasbestracing.net/strong to learn more. One word, americasbestracing.net/strong. The Rocket is in. Portnoy is out.
What a switch that was.
Dave's coming back to New York.
Oh, really?
I don't know what happened, but I know that I am doing a video with him tomorrow, so he must have gotten kicked out of his house or, like, I don't know what happened.
If you don't think this has been planned by the Pinstripe Suits to have a fire alarm at 9:30 in the morning in a high-end hotel, you're living on a different planet.
So he'll be back for like a week or two, and then not even really because it's late. Our week off is like the end of June, so
yeah,
and off for vacation month. So the June vacation month is ending right in time for the July vacation month. We got the Rocket on primarily because we got the Long Gone Summer documentary last night, which I think has just been universally considered a disappointment. We'll talk from your point of view as a Cubs fan. I feel like you'd have to be even more disappointed. But Rocket, the baseball guy, you were all over this on Starting Nine. Your thoughts on the 30 for 30 last night?
Yeah, I mean, it just didn't offer anything new. Like, I think we all kind of went into this and, like, 30 for 30 built its brand on being this documentary series where it's like, all right, give us some juicy stories, give us some behind the scenes, give us the story behind the story. And instead, we talked about this on CCK. It was basically like I was watching a documentary about the summer of 98, and it was like a documentary that came out in December of 98. Like,
yes,
you were like, where's the steroid stuff? Like, where's the juicy stuff? And then we get into like the Andro, which we knew about that. Mark McGwire saying like, I regret it. He said that before. Sammy Sosa was on there for like 3 minutes, and we were like, okay, so he didn't offer anything new. He didn't admit to anything. So yeah, I mean, like, as a baseball fan, it was cool to relive the summer of 98 because that was awesome. Like, I loved all the homers. I loved the steroid era. But if you're not going to tell me something new, then what are we doing here?
Right. Exactly. It's like when you think about that summer and that steroid era, you like the memories of how awesome it was in the moment. Those are still real, but I have no problem with guys doing steroids. Like I
love steroids.
I have no problem with it. But
you did steroids.
I did steroids. I absolutely did. Barry Bonds was like a bad influence on my life. I did steroids, but you have to also look back on the era and be like, of course, things were different.
Right.
And that's where this documentary failed because it basically just ignored that things were different.
Yeah.
It was like, dude, remember how sick that was when we all thought this was on the up and up?
Right.
Yeah.
Do that again for an hour and 45 minutes.
I hated how many people were comparing it to The Last Dance because as good as The Last Dance was, it's not the end all be all. Like, people were saying we've been spoiled by this. And that's why this documentary doesn't work. Documentary didn't work because it sucked. But what we said, and I think it's true, if they employed the same back and forth timeline that The Last Dance did, if you started with the congressional hearings and then it was like rewind to 98,
and you had everyone there,
awesome, and you come back to 2004 and they're like, oh my God, I regret this, and there was some sort of you were superhuman, but also you paid the price. I mean, that would be compelling. That would be real. And they just did none of that. And on top of all that,
Sammy wasn't in it.
Sammy was in it when they brought him back on screen at the end where he was in that suit looking like the vampire. I was like, oh shit, I have not seen him for like 50 minutes.
And he did like the great, do you have anything to say about the steroids you did? And he's like, I have a granddaughter, dude. Like
what does that mean?
Well, he did one of these.
Bigger thing. He did the Rico Bosco, like, some things are bigger than sports. Like, It's such a great out. Like, yeah, I got my family and they're healthy and that's what I care about. So stop talking about this shit. But yeah, it was the Mark McGwire documentary with a side of Sammy. And that's where it also missed because, and I get it, Mark McGwire won the home run chase. Like, It's his story to tell, but Sammy was the electric part. Sammy was the charisma. Sammy was the fun part. Like when people say that they fell in love with baseball again, it was because of Sammy. Mark McGwire was the behemoth, but he's not really an interesting dude, and he's pretty aloof.
This is a game of baseball.
He's pretty fucking boring, and I think we saw that last night. It was like, this guy's offering nothing.
And
Sammy with the
Sammy
antics
passed
and the
him.
jumping and
Sammy passed him.
Right,
Like everyone forgot about that. Like if you weren't, even the people that lived 98 day to day, I completely forgot that Sammy Sosa at 66 passed Mark McGwire. Like Sammy still had, even after the Maris record was broken, it was like Sammy passed him.
Even that part was boring. They're like, and then Sammy hit a home run, and Mark was like, what?
that was crazy. They literally said, like, Mark hit 2, but then Sammy hit 3. I was like, oh, my goodness. They both hit home runs.
Yeah.
I did see some people on Twitter, which, I mean, I would have taken any other storyline, but some people, the conspiracy theory that it was racism, that they were grooving pitches for Mark McGwire. Was there, like, substance to that?
I don't remember that
Wait,
narrative.
hang on. Your audio's out, Dan. You got the full blown.
I hit the mute.
You got the full gamer headset.
Yeah, it's I don't. Pete came and did all the wires, and he did a great job, but I can't figure any of it out, so I had to be like, all right, fucking, I'll just plug this in. I do think they were grooving some ball. I mean, it's not like
because of like they.
No, I don't know about that, but
right. I think they both were probably getting grooved. But honestly, if you gave me a documentary talking about like how that was why, I would watch that before I watched that piece of shit again.
The documentary that should have been done is both celebrating them, but also asking them, like, honestly, like, when did you start doing steroids?
Yes.
What was it? What was it like? What was it like in the locker room? What was the culture like? How much stronger did you feel? Like, that's a story that if you tell that, I will be at the edge of my seat, because we don't have, even today. Think about all the guys. Think about Bonds, Sammy, Mark McGwire, even like throw out a couple other names, like random names, like even A-Rod. Like, we don't have a tell-all, like, this is exactly what I did, how I did it, and why I did it, and like it felt awesome. Like, we don't have that.
That's why I think the documentary was lacking for actually having included them. Like, I think it would have been more interesting if you started talking to some of the pitchers that were giving up these fucking bombs, being like, yeah, dude, like I played clean, and here I am facing Sammy and Big Mac. Like, everyone looks back at the summer of '98, and it was like this big celebration of baseball, and we're bringing baseball back. What about the guys that were like, yeah, I was giving up fucking bombs to these dudes, and then like my career never recovered.
Right.
Like,
I got called up in September, gave up 3 bombs to McGwire and never saw the fucking big
now I'm
leagues
selling
again.
insurance on Long Island.
Do you think there's a chance that the reason why we've never heard that story is because it would almost be like irresponsible of them?
No,
if I saw a pro athlete be like, I became Superman. It was awesome. I was amazing, and I made all this money. I think that I think people would do it more.
Partially, yes, but I think it has more to do with the guys I just listed. They're all hoping to someday be in Cooperstown.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they've seen that Jose Canseco's taken that route, and he's become a social pariah. Now, I think he's a social pariah for other things.
Crazy. Yeah.
Right. It's not because he said that he did steroids, but I think that probably is a deterrent as well. And I also understand, like, if you're Mark McGwire and you can basically vaguely say, like, yeah, I'm sorry, but not have to get into details, you'd probably take that route. The last thing about this documentary that cracked me up, like, they just picked as many fucking 60-year-old white dudes to tell us the most boring, like, give us, I was saying it on the Act Day, like, give us bartenders, give us fucking hot dog salesmen.
All those people, all the people we were taking pictures of the screen, those guys were awesome. All the fans, like, give me those guys on the record. Give
us the fans on Waveland waiting for balls to leave Wrigley. Like, give us that, and it's a totally different documentary. I don't give a shit about what George Will and Bob Costas think about baseball and, like, all this shit. It just felt completely flat. And it's a rare miss by 30 for 30.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen one universally panned. Like, some people didn't like this or that, but I didn't see anything positive. I forgot I was watching a 30 for 30 for a second. I thought I was watching like an MLB network thing or whatever. I was like, no, this is supposed to be the real deal. And it just totally flopped. So
I think like the sequence was such a big thing for that, though, like in terms of telling the story, because I told you I had the advanced copy. So it was a digital video that I was watching. So I could see like the bar moving across the bottom. So I'm like an hour and 5 minutes into the documentary. And like I looked, I was like, how much fucking time is left in this thing? And then I looked, I was like, oh, there's still a half an hour. So they are going to get into the steroids, but we're now an hour into this thing. And there's just no mention of like what was really going on here. Like if they had just started at the fucking congressional hearing, they're in front of Congress being like, I never did steroids, or I'm not here to talk about the past. And thank God Sammy Sosa remembered how to speak English. Like there's this whole thing going on where it's like you are an hour into a documentary where all of us watching this in 2020, we know what really happened.
Right.
Like, why are we pretending like that's not what really was the case?
And they did Barry Bonds so dirty with that cut. I could not believe that. That was insane.
That was trash. The two guys.
It's a Cardinals fan made it. He made the documentary. I mean, what do you want to do?
For the two guys that basically paved the way for home run steroid use to get brushed off, and the one guy who like jumped on. I mean, that was Barry Bonds. He got done dirty.
Barry had to die for Sammy and Big Mac's sins, and that's just not. It's not fair.
Right. We got this ridiculous video of this chick who I guess is into some kinky shit where she's pretending to be a dog.
You want some water? Okay. Here you go.
I don't know if anybody has any experience with dog leashes here, but she's like drinking water out of a bowl and jumping into a fucking lake to fetch a stick. I don't know. What do you got on this? You into it? You weirded out by it? What would you do if you saw it? What would you do if someone said they wanted to do it? I feel like Rocket, you got a little bit of kink in you. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it's 2020. I've got absolutely nothing against using dog collars. You know, it's one of those things where, like, you know, if you're into it, great. If you're not, I'm not going to pass judgment. But yeah, everyone's got their thing, and I'm not here to pass judgment on.
Nobody's kink shaming, not on this show. Damn.
No, I mean, people are gonna do what they got to do. And it probably has been happening for a really long time. We just live in an age where people are doing it on video. That's the only thing I'd say is that if they're doing this for attention, then I'm not okay with it because it's taking away the message from the real kinks.
Right. See, I think the real kinks know you keep your kink at home. Right. Keep the kink at home because that's for you and your partner or partners, and the people doing it out in the open are just here for the clout.
You don't need to videotape the kink.
Right. This isn't
about kink or clout.
It's about the passion for the game. It's not about the likes and retweets.
It's like it's for the kids, right, Rocket?
It's for the kids. Hey, man, it is what it is. It's a time-honored tradition. Let's keep it that way.
Second half of the rundown is brought to you by Death Wish Coffee. Right now, you know, everyone's out of whack with their schedule. Even if you're back from quarantine, the world's weird. You know, your timing's off, your day is off. So if you got to get up, get motivated, and get moving, Death Wish Coffee. When the couch is right there and you can lay in your PJs all day, and you got to make sure that you stay committed and motivated, Death Wish Coffee makes the world's strongest coffee so you can stay caffeinated to do whatever you got to do. They got a dark roast blend that has double the amount of caffeine that your average cup of coffee has. Smooth, bold taste. They've got the cold brew. They've got you can get it available in the coffee grounds, the coffee beans, the cans with sweetener, without sweetener. They got everything you need. The cold brew has 300 milligrams of caffeine per can. It sounds like a shit ton. So go to deathwishcoffee.com/Barstool. Not only can you get your coffee there, you can enter to win a bike, Death Wish cold brew, Barstool Sports merchandise, and an entire year's worth of Death Wish coffee while you're doing your shopping. To enter the sweepstakes, go to deathwishcoffee.com/Barstool. We got this video of Lamar Jackson fucking around on the beach, playing a little beach football, ends up basically almost getting like tackled into a jet ski, which I feel like Ravens fans all saw their life flash before their eyes. I wonder how much of this shit goes on, like you said, like about the girl of the dog. Like we just see videos of this stuff now, but have athletes always been fucking around on the beach and jumping off of this? And I guess.
Absolutely. I think that's where all the weird injuries always come from. Whenever someone says like, oh yeah, I fell off this or I slipped in the shower. It's like, no, you were probably drunk playing football on the beach.
Okay, tell them a tip. There it is. The tip is make sure you hold on. Catch the ball with two hands all the time. Ready to go. Catch the ball, two hands.
Right. And then you got hurt. But yeah, it would be the ultimate like irony for Lamar Jackson, who everyone's been like, oh, no one can sustain these many hits. Like he can't be a running quarterback, and then he gets hurt by a fucking jet ski.
Right.
Holy shit, would that suck?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like athletes have been doing this forever. We just haven't had it documented. Like all those stupid fucking injuries where you got like, who was it that
Madison
like, broke their
Bumgarner.
ribs? Madison Bumgarner on the dirt bike. But then there's also like someone pulled their back, like tying their boots, or like someone broke a rib sneezing.
Sammy hurt his back sneezing.
Yeah. There's a bunch of lists. Who is it? Was it Smoltz burned himself ironing his shirt with it while it's on? While it was on, yeah. So
which I've actually
great...
pulled that move, so I can't blame him.
I can't knock that either. I've definitely done one
just
of
like a
those.
little wrinkle, and you're just like, oh, let me touch that up real quick.
Yeah. Well, but now it's like how many of those excuses were legit, because now in like these contracts, they can just void your contract. Like I think technically they could have voided Madison Bumgarner's contract for like doing something that he wasn't supposed to be doing and having an injury that cost him all these games. But if there's no video proof of it and there's no one around to rat you out, then it's like, yeah, I fucking sneezed and that's how I broke my rib. When meanwhile you were just like fucking around in the pool or something like that.
Right.
I mean, I know all these guys are ultra athletic, ultra competitive, can 99.9% of the time handle themselves. But if you're in a sport without guaranteed money, just chill out for like 5 years. Your career's probably not going to be that crazy long anyway. You could play football on the beach when you're about to be dead. Fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
We got this chick on a plane who she got shit-faced because her boyfriend dumped her. Shout out to plane breakups, Kelly Keegs. Her boyfriend dumped her. She hops on the plane. She gets shit-faced, and she tried to smash a window. And it looks like she actually she cracked it. She didn't break it, but she put like cracks in the window, which is fucking terrifying.
Is that Spirit Airlines? Like what fucking airline can you crack a window on?
Oh no, wait, it's let me see. Let me open up the exact. It was in China.
Okay.
She drank 2 bottles of quote super strength spirits. I don't know what the fuck that means. She was on an Airbus A320. So we're talking about like a legit plane. I think it doesn't say the airline here, but it's probably some like wacky Chinese one. And they had to do an emergency landing. I mean, I'd be furious about this one.
Is like the physics of that, like if she actually cracked the window, do you just like get sucked out of the window? Is it like a vacuum?
I've always wondered. I feel like the plane for sure crashes, but if you're like next to the window, do you get like, your arms like sucked out of it? They're so small, but
yeah. But like people jumping out of a plane, I guess it depends on like how fast you're going and how high you are maybe, but like if you jump out of a plane, you don't just get like sucked out.
I think that has to do with all like pressure and shit. Like, you can like open up a door when you're skydiving because of whatever reason. I think when you're that high and it's all altitude and shit, I mean, that girl, you got to just throw her in jail, right?
Yeah. Instant karma to just get sucked out the window, though.
Could you imagine getting so reckless over a breakup that you cause like a plane of like 300? I would be mortified. I'd rather the plane just crash than me have to land and be like, yeah, that was me. Sorry. I was the drunk chick like crying over my breakup.
I have a feeling if you're willing to do that, like you're probably not caring what other people think. It's not, you're not walking around being like, oh man, they probably hate me now.
Chances are she's probably walking around with a dog leash doing dog kinky stuff too. They're just mentally off the rails.
Yes.
I believe that's really it. I don't think there's been much else from the weekend. Bryson DeChambeau. I'm a Bryson stan now that he's out there looking like a fucking meathead. Are you kidding me?
No, he's a loser.
Like I used to hate him, but to go from the like scientific like nerd to just being like I'm gonna be the biggest meathead on tour. Like I can do it all.
I actually don't even know why I don't like him. I think maybe there was something with Brooks Koepka, and I'm ride or die Brooks Koepka. So
I think that's why he got big, because Brooks was talking about being in shape or something, right? Something about the 6-pack and all that talk. And then I think Bryson was like, I'm going to be the biggest guy on tour this year. And he just fucking is. He called the shot.
Fuck him.
He's hitting at 360 yards, man. He's killing it.
He's a loser. He's a loser.
Also, Dan, didn't you want to talk about the Yankees cheating?
Oh yeah. Of course, we got Barack in here.
Okay, go ahead.
Dan was moving, so he didn't really see everything. A lot of convoluted. Like, is it bad? Is it not? So, Rocket, set the whole scene for exactly what's going on.
Wait, Jared, before you do it, let me just say that I didn't. So, like Kevin said, I was moving on Friday and Saturday. On Saturday afternoon, I went on Twitter and I saw John Boy trending.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, so that's how I found out. That's pretty much the only thing. I was like, he got canceled. And I don't know really any other like backstory.
Yeah. So apparently there was like this letter that detailed the Yankees cheating, and then Rob Manfred covered it up. And then there's this one guy, he's like, he has NYC in his handle. So I don't know how credible he is. He was saying that it didn't do that. But then there was this other guy. These tweets didn't make any traction whatsoever. Joe Rivera SN on Twitter. He's verified. Do you want me to read you the tweets?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So a source told me late last
By the way,
year.
wait. Make sure get it up a little bit higher. Your hand
What,
up.
the phone?
Yeah. And then also just a reminder that Jared's a national baseball writer.
Yeah, I cover the whole league.
Right down the fucking middle.
So anyways, can I read?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
A source told me late last year that the Yankees allegedly had 3 different cameras set up in the outfield in 2017, left, right, and center, trained on the catcher's mitt to steal signs. Those signs would then be decoded in the dugout and relayed to the hitter during games at-bats. It had been happening in 2017 and before, really stuff that we kind of already knew. So they're talking about, like, the stuff that the Astros were doing. Like,
Didn't it go on to say that, like, I think it was Chris Young was on the Yankees and then brought it somewhere, and Brian McCann brought it to Atlanta. It sounds like the Yankees were like the fucking epicenter of this.
Yes.
And the guy you're talking about, Andy Martino, anybody who believes him, especially with anything Yankees, is a fucking joke. I mean, get out of here. He is the least reliable of everyone.
And he's the only person denying it. He's the only person denying it.
Right. And Yankee fans being like, I think I saw them saying, well, the judge is only saying release the letter because we've already talked about this. It's already public knowledge. We've already decided they didn't really do anything that bad, so just go ahead and release it. Well, if that was the case, why would the Yankees be trying to stop it by saying, quote, it would do, like, horrendous reputational damage?
Yeah.
If that's the case, if there's nothing to hide,
what's in the letter?
Tell me that it would do reputational damage to you.
Yeah, plus whatever is in the letter, I feel like is separate from the tweet that I just read, because the Athletic report that came after the Red Sox that said that the Red Sox were stealing signs.
Tell them how many times. Tell them how many times it said Yankees.
71 times.
Fuck you, Evan Drellich.
71 times. They were named 71 times. That's crazy. The Red Sox were in the headline. The Yankees were named 71 times in the same article. And all it was saying, it's the same thing that the Red Sox were accused of doing and whatever else, was these teams were going in the replay room, the video room, and they were decoding signs or whatever, and then they were using that in the game. These tweets that I just read you, if the Yankees had cameras set up in left, center, and right, and they were fixed on either the catcher signs or they were behind the pitcher to look at what the pitches were in his mitt, that's completely different than what they were originally accused of. That's a bombshell, and no one's talking about that.
So what are like Hubs? What are like Hubs and Tommy and them?
27 rings, man. 27 rings. Suck on these 27 rings. That's what they're saying. No one is ever.
Their line.
Well, no, I mean this one like idea that they're just releasing the letter because it's not going to affect anything. I mean, why would that be? Why would that be the case? Why would it be sealed? Then being unsealed and having the Yankees say, don't do this because it's going to do reputational damage, but it means nothing?
Yeah, but then you have that one reporter who's like grew up a Yankee fan is like, well, there's nothing to see here. The letter's not open yet, but I can tell you from my sources that there's nothing in there. Sorry about it. Like, that's not a credible source.
Oh, man, I would love – the only thing that I go back to is, one, every major player on the Yankees strikes out 700,000 times a year. And two, they were so outspoken and tweets and interviews. I mean, if they were really cheating, they are like sociopathic. Like they are able to lie right to our faces.
That's how it happens, though, right? Like like it happens all the time in politics. Like
AJ Hinch was doing it.
Whoever's like the most anti-gay is like usually a closeted, like that's what they're doing. They're guilty conscience.
2019 press conference in the postseason when the Yankees were accusing the Astros of whistling to steal signs and relay signs, AJ Hinch like laughed.
Right.
They were hiding in the open. Like, they were doing it. It doesn't matter, like, if you deny it publicly. Like, we've seen a million people deny things publicly, and it's like, well, you fucking did it.
If Aaron Judge and that fucking interview he gave about Altuve, you know,
He said he was sick to his stomach, Kevin. Sick to his stomach.
Man.
Deleting tweets congratulating Jose Altuve on the MVP in 2017. It just didn't matter anymore. It didn't carry the same weight anymore.
You know, it wasn't earned. They cheated. You know, that didn't sit well with me, and I just didn't feel like the post that I did really, you know, meant the same anymore.
Fuck off, man. I hate these. Bring me back to 98, man. Bring me back to 98 with the fucking juice.
Just let them all do it. Who cares?
All right. Dan, you moved. How's the new spot? You settled
Good.
in? Was it
Good.
chaotic,
We got Stella's anxious. Yeah, chaotic.
Minute back. Stella, shut the fuck up! That actually worked.
I
I did.
The best part of getting older is that you just don't even like consider doing your own moving anymore. It's just like pay someone to take care of all of this.
Although, at what point I was throwing this out there, like at what status, money, whatever point do you get to in life where, because I'm at the point now where someone came and moved everything, but then on Friday afternoon, like I was just like, okay, now I have 70 boxes that I have to unpack.
Yeah.
Like, you know that like super rich people, they don't even do that. They go on vacation, they just come back to a new address.
A beautiful house. Yeah.
Yes.
I tried once when Shay was first born. We weren't planning on moving, but a 2-bedroom opened up like out of nowhere. So we had to move like within a week. And we paid people to come, not just move shit, but like they came into our apartment like it was just our normal ass apartment. And they had to like pack everything.
Oh, you know, I did that. Yeah, the pack. Yeah.
I mean that's a game changer too, where it's just like I'm not gonna sit here putting my plates in fucking paper for like 12 hours. But it did, by the way, take like 12 fucking hours.
It was a long time, and that's the first time I've ever done that. I didn't really understand it because I didn't like clean really, or like, you know me, I'm a hoarder. So I was unpacking on Friday and I'm like pulling shit out of a box, and like I open a box and it's just like 75 like pens that are dirty, and like then I open another one, it's like 16 empty dip cans. I'm like, what the fuck? Why did we bring this? Like, you're
bringing literal garbage to your new apartment. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So yeah, but it was good. It was it's good, and it just sucks. When you move, it's like the first 85% takes 3 days, and the last 15% takes 10 years
until you move again.
Yes, yes.
That's basically what happened.
Yeah, the last week before you move, you're like, I feel like we're finally settled in here.
Right.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Anything else for after show? You good, Rocket?
That's all I got.
I'm good.
All right, man.
All right.
We'll catch you guys tomorrow.
See you guys.